Hey guys, welcome to a video where we are going to talk about receivers. Yes, today's video is about receivers, and I'm going to be explaining how these machines are somewhat related to your car. So today's video is about that. Let's jump right into it. So I got another receiver and I switched them out because of our vote that we did. And now I tore this, what's it called again? Bose, whatever. I tore it down. And I'm going to be explaining how this is not too far off from your car. Let's start over here. So over here would be your power supply, what you plug into the wall and what would run to the amp. Now, amp aside, this is basically your battery, but it has to take 220 volts and turn it into whatever this amp needs. If it was in a car, it would be 12 volt at a specific amount of amperage, depending on what amp or battery you have. But this outputs about 16, 15, or 22 volts at around like 80 amps, probably not, I don't really know. And this connects straight to the amp right here, just like it would on your car amplifier. Of course, you have your channels, you have your center, surround sound, left and right, and then you have your outputs. It has a little bit more features just to soothe your house needs and your cooling fan, but if this was a car audio system, the whole thing would be its cooling. Now let's go to the signal. Signal comes from your head unit or just the front panel of your receiver. Back here, it's really not difficult to understand. And these would be your RCAs or your remote or any input that has anything to do with your audio or video input. Now over here, this is your signal wire. This tells the amplifier that you put the volume up, that you put the volume down, that you switched the mode, that you turned it on, that something is going on over here. That you turned down the bass, you turned on Bluetooth, you turned on your aux. This is what this tells. This says everything information-wise to your amp. These two wires is communication wires. It's not the same as these wires. These are also communication wires, but over here, they're small communication wires. They basically tell, hey, this relay needs to flick on or off, especially when you turn it on. When you turn it on, it can't just immediately put power. That's dangerous. It tells this relay right here to turn on, and this switch, which is for your loudness. Normally, let me show you. Right here is my normal receiver. If I play music and I press this, it says speakers, on or off. This is off. This is on. You can hear that relay. But for the receiver that I took apart, it's just speakers on and off. So we got the whole communication, but where do you get your audio signal from? What turns your Bluetooth input or aux input or whatever input to amplified outputs is this wire. So you have right here, but yes, I did look at something online. Right here is your two RCA inputs that would probably come from your head unit all the way down to this. These two right here. Now these other twos are specifically meant for low frequency outputs and subwoofer outputs. Now these two are just to tell you, hey, this is what we're playing. this is the music. There you go. Amplify this. That's what it tells it. Now, this just amplifies what it hears. Now, if you want lower frequencies, you would need another communication. Now, that communication is these 3 other wires right here. Is your base communication, and this is why we have a sub pre-out. DVD, CD. This tells it we have other outputs that we could do. Let's turn this not only into speaker outputs, but to other inputs or outputs, and this is why we have a sub output. This tells it low frequencies could be controlled in a different way. And all that comes together in one panel box. And obviously, this is your base. You have your screws, and then your top, and your back plate, and your front plate. But we're not done. Here's our display. Now, this just shows you what mode you're in. If you're in aux, Bluetooth, whatever, FM mode, everything. This just has communication wires, just like the ones for our amplifier. Right here, you have your signal. This is to tell what input or output you're in. This just tells this is like the Bluetooth wire, because your Bluetooth chip is right here, as you can see. Right there. You see that weird little squiggly thing? That's your Bluetooth antenna. And right here just takes your Bluetooth up here, because it has this feature where you can see the graph of the sound just go up and down, which is really cool, but useless and cool. But it's like, it works. And this is its processor, so the images are stored in here. Right here is all your potentiometers, which basically controls stuff. Right here is the board that sends some signals up here, like any adjustments down here. And you also have 2 relays over here. And I didn't look at what this does because I was running out of time and I need to make a video for y'all. This is your main volume button. Obviously goes over here. It gets scaled down to a few wires, and it exits out over here. Now let's talk about weight distribution. So over here is our main plate. Remember, this has kickstand thingies. When it's on a flat surface, they don't want this to bend like that, because there's no middle one. That would look not normal. So what they did is they took the heaviest part and distributed them via 2 of these. As you can see, this is the plate for our transformer / if car audio people are listening, battery. Both of those are very heavy. In your battery, you have battery cells, and here you have a bunch of coils, and it's not light. Trust me when I say this is not light. So, amplifier goes right here, and then your battery or your transformer goes over here. So there's nothing really heavy over here. I can put a few tools up here to show you the weight. It's not going to collapse. But if this was in the middle, this would definitely collapse and look really weird. It would be harder to screw things in. Trust me. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it back together. So let's start with our base. What you want to do first is find where everything's going to go. Now, I obviously took pictures before because I don't want to mess my amplifier up. So what we're going to do first, we're going to sit down, take a deep breath. Remember, nothing could blow up if you take pictures. And then what you want to do is remind yourself of your clean setup. And then remind yourself you're not monetized yet. Kinda. Maybe. You don't know. And then get your screws. Put them here. Get your tools. Put them there. And take what you're gonna do first, which is my head unit / front control board. So what we're gonna do is put it here. and we're going to flip it over to screw it in. But I have to do that with my camera in my hand. I just realized that. Okay, great. So this is how it's going to look like. It's not screwed in, obviously, because... Obviously. But I'm going to flip it over, screw it in. Let me just put one screw in so y'all can see without it falling. Give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. So, this one is tiny little itsy bitsy screws. Just line them up with the hole. And if you did take it apart, remember, please take pictures. You don't want to mess stuff up. Like, right here. Where does it go? Exactly. So you have to make sure you know what you're doing. You've done this before. Or just take pictures. It's easy like that. And, yeah. Sorry. I get distracted. But let's finish this. There you go. Everything's in perfectly. Okay, so next up is something I really wanted to avoid right now. But if I don't put this in, it's going to be another problem putting this one in. And you might guess, yes, it's, bro, let's just get this over with. So what you want to do first, take your whatever thingy, point it the right direction. I had zip ties over here, but that did not last long. What you want to do is clear up the space. Make sure no wires is in your way. You don't want anything to be pinched, because if it is, that's not good. So these are the wires that go to our amp. So the amp's going to be right here, so we're just going to turn it around like that. You don't really need to line it up real good, but you can if you want to. Now, let's take a look at something quickly. Now, this is how it's going to be, right? We have, like, enough wire where we could probably turn this around because these wires are getting scrunched. So, let's try that. Okay, I think this is a good enough length. And this is our volt thingy, so we don't want to mess with that. Yeah. So, honestly, what this does is it switches coils. So if it's at like 100, let's say 115 volts, the coil, all of it's working. But if I switch this, only half of it is working. So more power gets in because this just dissipates wire and it gets hella hot. So what I really did not want to do, but we have to do it, let's screw it in. By screw, I mean this big bolt. Now, you can't just flip it and screw it in. You need a shelf. Yippee! So what you want to do is, first of all, remove this because you don't want to put it on here. With this, not bolted in, because if you do, it's either going to fall on you or not. Don't take the chance, trust me. Put it on, okay? And take your transformer, put it right here, line it up as good as possible. And then take your tools that you're going to use for this big boy, like your screw. Put them all together, your top plate, and this mesh that it comes with, probably just for like, I don't know, healing, I don't know, it's not alive, but your washers. And now this goes on top, right here, with the top plate. These two go at the bottom with the bottom plate. That's it. This faces down, this faces up. So let's do that. So what you want to do first, okay, so everything doesn't fall, screw it in hand tight, like just hand tighten it, okay? Make sure your mesh is good. You see, line up that hole as well as possible. And then what you want to do is take your bolt, put it in right in there. I don't know if you guys could see it because I'm not paying attention to that. Get that as lined up as well as possible. Then take your screw and washer. I need to drop the camera for this. So you got it, right? Okay, good. So you put it like this, and then you just tighten it with your hands. just with your hands. We're gonna definitely tighten it more, trust me. There you go. So the screw's not falling off. Now what you want to do is either use pliers or these nifty little tools. So this is a skateboard bolt quick disconnect, whatever, okay? I'm gonna put it up here. Wait, put it up here. Use this to hold the bottom screw and then just screw it in. I'm gonna do that quickly. Just give me 1 second. Okay, there you go. It's screwed in, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Trust me, you can't get this thing perfect unless you're in a factory. Okay, now get this down. Get it down, and remember, one important thing you don't want to miss is right here. So I disconnected it because it would be easier to show the head unit / front panel with this out. Now this is your switch. Very satisfying. The way it does, it literally just turns this thing on. So you just plug that in and it's good. Like that. Now, don't skip this step unless you don't want this thing to work. Make sure to do your amplifier because that's our next step. Our next step is to put our amplifier. Now, this is not conductive. This metal, unless you grind it out, it's not conductive. If there were so many electrical things, you'd think it would be conductive. Exactly. That's what I thought. Yeah, you and I both. So, weird thing about this thing is this is all held by the heatsink, which is just 2 screws. Now, the 2 screws are over here, and I'm going to screw it in. Let me just put in 1 screw so this doesn't fall. Remember, get all the wires out of the way. Like that, so nothing gets damaged. Line it up with the holes, and then screw it in. Okay, so this is my process. I'm just holding it, and then I'm going to take my screwdriver with the hand I'm filming with, and then just screw it in. This doesn't have to be really tight, just tight enough where it doesn't, the heatsink doesn't move. So, what else do you want to do? Remember, this right here, the heatsink is not the only thing gonna hold the amp. The back plate is. Right here, you see? It looks hecka loose, but don't worry. Okay, so, let's not skip this step, because if we do, we're cooked. Plug this in. These connectors are all different, so it's going to be really easy to plug them in. Let me just zoom in for y'all. Okay. Plug this in right here. This one in too, right there. Your amp is a few steps away from getting to work again. Maybe. I don't know. Actually, yes, I do. If yours is different, I recommend before you take everything apart to take some pictures. Please take pictures because I don't want to be blamed for your amp not working or blowing. So these are different, so I'm just going to plug them in. And now, our next step is the back panel. Right, let's get it. Yes, it's pale. I get it. I keep saying Bose because pale is just weird. So let's get some stuff sorted out connection-wise, but we need to screw it in first. So get these lined up, okay? Get your wires out of the way because they're definitely going to be pushing, okay? Out the way. Make sure this is correct and then screw it in. Let me just do that quickly. There you go. We're not done. Trust me, we are really, really not. So before I connect everything to the back panel, like your wires that has something to do with your power and your voltmeter thingy, and screwing the amp to this like with screws and not just like these things, we need to screw the back panel permanently. Well, not permanently, but you know what I mean. So flip it up like that. Find your screws. So I will be using these because that's what it was. Get them, put them in their hole. No diddy. And then let's screw them in. There you go. They're screwed in pretty well. And now let's flip it. And by the way, this is super heavy, but at least doesn't go down because all of this creates tension and force, and you can see how distributed the weight is. This is really not that heavy. So yeah, I guess we're gonna connect some stuff. I keep forgetting. We have to screw these things in. I mean, if I try to connect something, look what happens. This will not be good for the amp over time. Neither will this or this. So, you look at that flex. That's bad. So what you want to do, just get your screws and then screw them in. So let's do that. I'm not going to film it because I need to hurry up. Alright, once you think you're done, look around, make sure there are no visible holes, and as you can see, everything is screwed in. I can press this and it doesn't bend the amplifier. I could do anything I want back here because it's all screwed in. Now, this and that. Let's get to work. Alright, by what I mean by this and that, I mean the FM antenna and the volt switch. Now, this is going to be very easy because the FM antenna is one thing. Somehow, all of the radio stuff goes through here. Somehow. I don't know why there isn't an antenna in here, but whatever. We're going to plug it in right here, just like that. It just slides right in, as you can see, which is convenient for our situation. This right here is screwed in on top like that for easy disconnection, but I decided to keep it and unscrew it. Also, someone tell me why the wires that actually have 220 volts no matter what is smaller than the wires that go anywhere else. Whatever. Not going to question that because I don't really care. So we're going to screw this in like that right here. There we go, and she works perfectly. I'm going to keep it over here because this already has too much power. Like, these are going to blow. Well, my surround sound speakers, not like the Bose or like the Scars. Trust me, those can handle way more power. And yes, the Bose speakers are two different speakers, but they are connected together because I soldered their terminals together and I drilled a hole in between them so it's like permanent. And I would glue it, so, yeah. Let's do this. This is very easy. Just slide it in like that. And remember, this was in pieces earlier. Like, in pieces, I mean. So, we came a long way in 23 minutes. So, right here, our switch. She works perfectly. The wires, I'm assuming they work perfectly. The amp probably works perfectly. I don't know. Haven't tested it yet. Buttons, everything works perfectly. Now, time for the final piece. The top. Yippee! So what you want to do for the top is, well, take it. You can see where it's supposed to go. Make sure everything is good for the top to go on. Make sure you connected everything. Fit these on their slots, like so. Make sure nothing is in the way. Yes, this is a spaghetti chaos, but nobody cares. You're not going to see in here for another 20 years when I feel like posting. Put it on. Make sure it's all good. Like that. And line it up. And then push it in. Now, one thing I really like to do is put the back screws so it actually gets pushed all the way in. So let me do that. Once you're done with that, plug it in and hope for the best, because you never know what's gonna happen. And if you followed the steps perfectly, well, you might not die. Bear with me. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Oh my god. It works. Guys, I'm so happy. Bluetooth 2. Everything works. Now, we're going to use this for different projects. And now, let's take a look at everything with its labels now. As you can see, this was the sub. This was the REC. What? It's not supposed to say RCA or whatever. DVD, CD. Looking good. You got your left and right, center, surround sound. Remember, that's what I said. Let's not pay attention to that. So yeah, there we go. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you're new. If you are not, hello. And I'll try to post more content, but I can't promise anything. Later.